The 3rd of December, the Media Center Ukraine starts working. I'm Svetlana Cheplenko. We'll talk about the beginning of the calendar winter. What is the weather in stock? Our participant is Nataliia Ptukha. She is a spokesperson for the Ukrainian Hydrometeorological Center, and Alexander Horunchi for the State Emergency Service. So what is the winter going to be like in December? Yes, the calendar winter has started, and the beginning is rather calm, probably gray. Anticyclone is responsible for this, the cyclone of heightened pressure, and part of it influences our territory until the end of this working week without rain or snow. And of course, the winter is dim. We have quite a lot of fog. It is very active. We saw this during the weekend in several regions of Ukraine, especially in the evenings and mornings. We have fogs, thick fogs, which are rather dangerous for people who drive and also for pedestrians, and the State Emergency Service is always emphasizing this. We have long hours of dark and twilight now, so we don't have to forget about this. What's in stock for us? Starting from the 6th of December, there will be a restructuring of the weather processes. When St. Nicholas Day comes, we'll have some wet snow, maybe turning into rain. Maybe it will add some white to our surroundings, but we do not very much count on this, at least for the 6th and 7th of December. However, this anticyclone will be weakening by then, and the frontal systems will bring rain and snow to us. However, we will witness two air masses dominating our territory, and in the west and north of Ukraine, the temperature will be about 0 centigrade, maybe a bit less during the night, and in the south of Ukraine +2, +8. This trend will survive until the end of the week, and maybe we will even see the rise in temperatures. Maybe cyclones will come from southwest. They will be accompanied by the competition between warm and cold air masses. So at the same time, our west and north will continue to see temperatures around 0 centigrade. And of course, the Carpathian Mountains will see the coldest winter, -5 to 10 centigrade during the night, and probably 0 during the daytime. There will be no snow, maybe some snow on the 10th of December and later. However, the temperature may rise. The weather is not going to be stable. So this is the situation. The last winter was rather comfortable for us. I would say, of course, there were some unpleasantly low temperatures. Are we going to see the same this coming winter? Of course, some trends are being preserved, both according to the research of our specialists and the world forecasts. They say that the winter period in Europe, including Ukraine, becomes warmer. We also see that our average monthly temperatures are higher than the average normal temperature for our type of climate. Almost the same happened to November. It was just a bit warmer than usual. As far as December is concerned, we are expecting something within the limits of the norm. However, because we have quite a large territory of our country, and we expect some cyclones, and the southern regions will see some rise in temperatures, so maybe there will be temperatures above the average. However, we should not rule out some rather cold days. This is winter after all. Many scientists are watching the ultraviolet tornado, and there are no final forecasts as of now. However, our scientists are keeping watch, and they will warn us within 5 to 10 days if anything happens. It was going to happen. And there will be more dynamic processes starting as of the 10th of December. However, there will be periods of calm weather as well, but we will surely see more rain and snow and some wind as well. We should get prepared for this. There may be some sleet depending on the temperature in this or that particular region. If we will see temperatures below zero in the north and west of the country, you should especially closely watch the warnings from the Ukrainian Hydrometeorological Center. What about the number of sunny days? What is the traditional number of sunny days for the Ukrainian winter? How it is changing? To tell you frankly, you haven't warned me about the number of sunny days, so I can't tell you the exact number, but of course winter is the dimmest period of our weather. We should be prepared for the very short daylight day, and we should expect clouds, but clouds are not very bad. If we have clouds, then they are like blanket. They cover part of our territory and our cities, and the warmth that was gathered during the day is not evaporating as fast as without clouds. Yes, we can feel that the nights are more frosty than days, but of course the clouds are bringing some threats. So, Mr. Alexander, let's talk about the security and safety, about the fogs and the dark period of time. Let's remind drivers and pedestrians how they should behave. Thank you, and I also always thank the Hydrometeorological Center who give us forecasts. We are publishing this in our social networks, and we do warn our drivers to be especially careful because you cannot see farther than 300 or 500 meters. And there were fogs over the last nights, and of course it is not conducive to the free driving. So we ask and advise our drivers not to speed up, use anti-fog lights. This will help us see what's in front of us. As far as pedestrians, please do use pedestrian crossings and do this carefully. Don't throw yourself under the car, and please see to it that the distance between you and the car is enough for the normal braking. Use fluorescent stripes and other elements. This will help the driver to notice a pedestrian in a due time. Okay. Snow, mountains, Carpathians. St. Nicholas's Day is on the 6th of December. Many people will go to the mountains, to the Carpathians. What are the dangers there? In spite of a pleasant weather, and people would be skiing and trekking. What are the dangers in the Carpathians? Some statistics. From the beginning of 2024, the mountain rescue services have rescued 579 people, 101 children among them. Regrettably, 18 people have died in the mountains. What are the major reasons? First, carelessness, personal carelessness. They do not care for the complexity of the route they are taking. Unsatisfactory preparation for mountain trekking and lack of the needed equipment. You should study the route very carefully before you venture to the mountains and have a detailed plan. They also ignore the weather forecast very often. When they go to the mountains, people do not look at the weather forecast, and so they face the gusts of wind, heavy snowfall, and of course they cannot see very well in such conditions, and tourists get lost. So before you go to the mountains, please study the weather forecast. I also want to emphasize the need before the trekking, before your trip, you should register your tourist routes. You can do this by dialing 101 or 112. Also, there are apps like Rescue in the Mountain, both on iOS and Android. You can download them easily and register there so that the rescuers know if the emergency arises, where these people should be looked for who got lost. I also want to stress that several pieces of advice what to do if you get lost. First, don't panic. You should remember some details of your route, your paths, the rivulets that you cross, and if you go down, then you will necessarily come to some populated center. Telephone number 112. If there is no connection in the mountain, just go to and look for the place where there is mobile connection. Another moment is the apps that I reminded you of, Rescue, Порятунок, Rescue in the mountains and Rescue. They have geolocation and can help find you. Why I am stressing the registration of your mountain trekking. We, first of all, do not advise you to go on yourself. You should go and follow the instructor, the prepared instructor, because we had the cases when people called us 2 or 3 days after people got lost and were without communication. The temperature in the mountains now is -2 to 4 centigrade. Besides, there may be gusts of wind and snowfalls and rains, and within such conditions, a person would be hard-pressed to survive. If they got lost in the mountains, this is very dangerous. And much depends on where people are. so that the rescuers could find them. Another thing I would like to point out, especially the major factors which preclude you from going to the mountains. First, unfavorable weather conditions, thunderstorms, fog, heavy snowfall, because you just don't see your path or whatever. And when there's a danger of snow coming down the mountain slopes, your health problems, you should really calculate your forces. Recently, a person of the third age went to the mountains, and his wife called our rescuers. The rescuers found this person and they helped him, but he really was in a bad condition because he didn't measure his strength. And of course, you should be well physically prepared, and then you should have these pieces of equipment with you, by all means, in order to travel in a correct way. First, trekking footwear, the clothes that are good for this weather, another pair of shoes or footwear, raincoat, a forward light, hunting matches, at least one and better 2 mobile phones, 2 power banks. You should register your trip. I tell this again. You can either go to the rescue unit to do this. In every region where we have mountains, we have such units, and we have more than 260 people who are mountain rescuers. Again, you can dial 101 and register there. There are internet sites of our service in Lviv, Transcarpathian, Ivano-Frankivsk and Chernivtsi regions, and applications Порятунок в горах and Порятунок, rescue in the mountains and rescue. So these are the major rules. Please measure your strength and register. We wish you good tourist trips and be careful. Thank you very much for your pieces of advice. We hope that Ukrainians won't raise additional problems for your service. Any questions from the journalists? No? Then thank you very much. We were talking about weather conditions in December and safety in mountains and on the roads. In 10 minutes, we'll talk about metallurgy during the war. Stay with us.